welcome to KJ's Kitchen. I am KJ. I'm 14 years of master fitness trainer, a fitness nutrition specialist, and most important to me, I'm a happy mom serving up healthy meals from my kitchen to yours every Wednesday here on Facebook on the Get KJ Fit fan page. Now, today I am so excited to bring you this recipe. If you have followed me in the past, you know I am all about helping people create healthy lifestyle choices, doing what they're already doing by giving a couple small tweaks. I call it facelifting your food or giving it a little up level of health, infusing more nutrients. So today I'm going to be bringing you a very traditional Danish dish or main dish. You're going to want to put other things with it. But I am married to a Dane, almost 10 years this coming March. So I have been experiencing this for quite some time. We have already been together for 10 years, so 10 years of this awesome dish in my life. And there are a couple minor tweaks that between my husband, Frederick, and I, we have made it a slightly healthier. But above all, there is nothing unhealthy in my world about, eating some animal fats. That might be the most unhealthy part of this, is that it's got animal fats. We are going to be making a dish called Frikadeller. So if you're not familiar, that is a Danish meatball. Very different than an American or an Italian meatball. Very different than an Italian meatball. So let's start first by talking those main differences. And if you have trouble finding all of this, I'll give you some alternatives. First, we're going to start with ground pork. Now, if you're familiar with Denmark, pork is a staple in Denmark, from roasted pork to bacon on anything, steak flæsk. They do a ton of pork anything, including their leverpostej is pork-based as well. This ground pork, I actually got 2 pounds of it. I'm only going to use 1 pound, so watch me get a little messy here. This one came from Earth Fare. If it's not from someone local, like Hickory Nut Gap Farm here local in Asheville, I will run to Earth Fare, where I also trust that the meat is high quality, humanely raised. Luckily, it's in a bag. I'm just going to cut that right in half, a little bit of an eyeballing. And that is 1 pound of ground pork. We get the rest of that all wrapped up. Okay, 1 pound ground pork, and here's where you may have a hit and miss depending on what kind of markets you have around you. 1 pound of ground veal. Very different than good old traditional American or Italian meatballs, which are beef. So ground veal, the baby cow, does have a different texture. This one, again, I got at Publix. They did not have it at Earth Fare. So if you are going to go for this recipe full force, you might have to find the veal. And it would be suggested, if you happen to have a meat grinder, that you would be picking some really nice selections of veal and pork yourself and grind it at home in a meat grinder. I don't have one of those. So I went ahead and bought them pre-ground. No big deal. And I'm going to go ahead and get 1 pound of veal in there. Done and done. I didn't get my hands dirty yet, but I don't love touching animal meats or whatever. So stick with me because I'm going to get really messy in here. Next up is an onion. If your family likes onions, as in like they don't mind big old chunky onions in there, you can go ahead and finely chop the onion. I've got little kiddos who see everything. So if your kids are like mine, you're gonna do what I'm doing right now, and that would be grating the onion with a grater, just a standard, whoop. Let me get that. That would be about a medium-sized onion, medium to large, based on your palate, your choice. I'm just gonna start discarding things right there behind me. This is my little trash can right there in the corner. Get my grater. I'm just using the standard size grater, nothing super fine. And I'm just gonna grate this onion. With this grating, it's gonna make it so tiny and translucent once it cooks down that your kids will love the taste of these frikadeller, but they will not know that there's onion inside. Sneaky mom, right? There we go. And if you are grinding your own meat, which of course you can pick your own selection, choose like a pork loin or something nice and lean, you can actually grind the onion right in with the meats. I hope I don't cry on camera. This onion's getting really stinky over here. Here we go. So far, I'm doing all right. I'm just gonna look this way. Look this way. Don't grate your fingers off. Look this way. Here we go. I guess I could have graded this before you got here, but if you tune into KJ's Kitchen, I do everything in real time as much as possible. Just to keep things, ooh, you can sit here and cook with me. So if you need to hit replay, once you get all these ingredients and you just want to sit and cook with me, that's the option you have, because you'll be doing it in real time right here with me. All right, boom, onions in, nice and wet. Delicious. Couple large pieces, only because my children are picky, I'm removing those. If you are serving mostly adults or kids who have learned how great an onion is, you can go ahead and just chop those onions. You don't need to get as messy as I am over here with the grated onion. Couple large pieces again, and I'm gonna scoop up all that yummy onion. So onions are kind of watery. No, not kind of. Onions are watery. Not only do they make our eyes water, they get watery. We're doing 1 clove of garlic. I chop off both ends, use the flat end of my knife and give it a little crush. Not only does this help the peel fall off, like with ease, you don't have to worry about peeling the garlic, just kind of comes right off. It also releases the healing properties of the garlic. So even if you're gonna chop or mince your garlic, always crush it first. That is my piece of advice to make sure you're getting the most out of your food. So here I am. I could use a garlic press. Me personally, I find it not to be much more convenient than tiny little mincing with a knife. So you want this nice and fine as well. Super minced garlic. There we go. And boop boop. Here we go. Just 1 clove will do ya. We don't want to overdo that because unlike a full-on beef, I'm not sure how the Italians do it with how much garlic they use in their beef, but the pork and the veal are mild, so we don't want to overpower it. Dry off my little garlicky, oniony hands. Whew. Okay, let's move into some salt. Now, Danes also enjoy salt, and these are salty. When you pair it with things on your plate, you could get away with, you know, shifting up that salty palate. We're gonna go with 2 teaspoons of salt. This is the kosher coarse salt. You could do a pink Himalayan sea salt, that'd be fine too. I'm gonna rock out with pepper. This is a pepper grinder, and that's to taste. I just like to make it look really good in there. And hidden pepper, the kids won't see that. Allspice. Not only is this meat combo very different than an American or Italian meatball, but I'm not sure what seasonings they're putting in. We're using allspice, and you're gonna do about 2 pinches. I don't know what that would equate to, maybe like 1/8 of a teaspoon, but a pinch 2 times. If you like it, you'll do a 1/3 or a little half. Oh, I did. So 2 to 3 pinches based on, oh, if you like it. It smells so good. Allspice reminds me of Christmas. Now we need something to bind it together. And this is a meatball. It's not gonna be a big round one. This is gonna be very different looking to you. I'm gonna go ahead and get that mixed. No, I'm gonna get my hands messy. I'm not gonna mix yet. Although, if I were not on camera and I could just run to the sink multiple times, I might mix this first before I dump in 2 beaten eggs. I did pre-beat those eggs. Use free range as much as you can. The egg helps bind it together to create the meatball. And then a flour might be traditional, even in the Danish recipe. But if you subscribe to KJ's Kitchen, you know that me and my family, we try to go as gluten-free as possible just to save our gut health. So I do recommend you doing oats instead, if oats work for you. And if not, you might find another binding agent that's gluten-free if you are gluten-free and non-oat. These are gluten-free from Trader Joe's. Make sure your oats say gluten-free. Otherwise, they may not be. So we're gonna do 1 cup of these gluten-free rolled oats, and we're gonna make an oat flour out of it by putting 1 cup into my little blender. And I'm just gonna whip this puppy up real quick. And I don't mind little flecks of oat in there, so it doesn't have to be super ground. Just make sure it's not, you know, oat style. You're gonna have it, you want it a little beat up in there. Get my blender in there. I don't think it's sitting right. Just like that, doesn't take long. Now, if you were to measure this, 1 cup of the oats ends up being closer to, I think, 3/4 cup of oat flour. So if you are gonna choose your own flour alternatives, you may, and I kind of sprinkle it around. If this were already pre-mixed, drop her in. I kind of reserve a little. Just watch, let's work together here. And this is fun to me because we had to make a real recipe to be able to share it today. My husband's the one who always makes this, and he pretty much eyeballs everything. So you'll see me kind of working, working a little timidly on what these measurements are all about. Now this is club soda. This is a secret of the Danish meatball. Okay, so we went camping, and back, you know, it was requested by popular demand that we bring these for the potluck. And people were like, well, what's so different about a Danish meatball? Veal pork, club soda. All right, we're going for a cup. And now, like I said, I'm gonna start mixing first because I don't want it to get so soupy. So we tried to make this very structured for people to have an actual recipe. I'm just gonna get messy, okay? Here goes mess. Ugh, I don't love touching it, but we gotta get it done. I'm getting right in there, mixing the meats, mixing the spice, getting the egg mixed through, that is the binding agent, getting the flour mixed through. Gonna get messy in here. Okay, now something to know when dealing with any ground meat, you don't want to overmix. So I'm kind of, this is gross sounding because I don't love touching meat. I'm kind of squeezing spider fingers to get a lot of mixing going on with each squeeze. So I'm not going to overdo it. Yes, it's slightly massaging, I'd say. Fold it around. Everything looks pretty well done in there. Oh, I'm so messy. Okay, I have a lot of cleanup to do, disinfecting. Here's my cup of seltzer. First, I'm just going to bring it in slow. And I just poured about, I guess, 2/3 of it in. I just want to keep an eye out on the consistency. Now the seltzer in this is gonna make it nice and fluffy. So I'm excited for you guys to try these. If you've been at my house before, when we host parties, especially New Year's or during the holidays, and anything that's even gonna be remotely related to our Danish traditions, Easter even, you've probably experienced our Frikadeller. I'm gonna top her off with the rest of that soda. And, oh, here goes my messy cup. Oop, don't slide on my hands, the rest of the oats. Just to check the consistency, I feel very comfortable with the measurements that I helped Frederick create based on how consistent this is. Now, you do not want a tough dough. This isn't dough. You don't want a tough mixture. It is kind of soupy and intentionally soupy. I'm going to show it to you in a second. After I get this final mix, I can see a little bit of oats going on. Just want to get it, all the oats and club soda done. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Here it goes. Oh, I'm a little grossed out. I brought this big wad of wet paper towels here with a bowl so I can wash my hands. Not super strictly, but at least I can get a lot of this junk off without having to disappear. Ugh. It tastes so much better than it feels, I promise. Okay, so my hands are remotely clean. We'll see. Let me show you how soupy this is. I'm gonna get a spoon and show you. It's very loose, okay? I'll even use a spoon so you can see. It's a little sloppy. This is not something that you're going to be making into, see that? It's a little, I hate the word soupy. It's not soupy. There's no like broth going on, but it's definitely sloppy. So, sloppy mixture, nice and easy to move. These frikadeller do not look like round meatballs. They look more like little footballs. That would be American footballs, little flat mini burgers almost. Get your heat on. We're gonna get the pan nice and hot. Now here's something else that might be a little different. I'm not sure. I'm not Italian, nor have I made an Italian meatball. But I know a lot of times they might even cook them and braise them in the sauce until they're cooked through, or maybe they brown them first and toss them in the sauce. Either way, here's a trick on the frikadeller. What makes it so delicious? We are using butter to pan fry them in, and that is going to give it such a rich flavor. And you could be using ghee if you prefer, because that has a really great high burning point. So you could be using ghee if you prefer that. Go grass-fed all the way. Right now, I don't have ghee in the cupboard, so I'm gonna just reach for butter and just keep putting it on about a couple tablespoons at a time. Here we go. I'm gonna get this pan nice and hot first. I should have heated that pan up a little sooner so that I could have had it hot by the time I'm ready to drop. When you are gonna do these, because we are gonna cook them up, at least one pan together, I like to use 2 tablespoons because I don't wanna get my hands dirty again. You kind of pull one in and make it a little round. You can see why they're gonna look like little footballs. Yeah. And believe me, once you've done this a couple times, you might choose to go a little soupier, right? I have seen it in many different ways, in many different cookbooks. And the level of liquid that you add varies. Some of them, I mean, I'm talking like triple of what I added. And a third of the flour that I added. So it's ultra soupy. This version is how my husband remembers it from home. He remembers it how his mom did it. He sometimes, depending on what's in the fridge, will even cut the club soda in half and use a whole milk. So half the liquid whole milk, half the liquid club soda. That's an option as well. You just want to make sure you have a liquid base. And again, that would just bring in extra fats. But I promise you, with this pork and the veal and the butter that we're going to be frying it up in, you're going to have plenty of delicious fat in these. All right, I'm going to go for about 2 tablespoons of butter. Get it in the pan. Check that that pan's hot by watching that butter melt. I'm using a cast iron pan. You could use a non-stick. Just make sure your utensils are wood or plastic or silicone. What I love, because I'm using these spoons, is it's fine if I have like metal spoons going in or a metal spatula. Got my butter melting. The pan, I can see it steaming, is getting nice and hot. I'm gonna smear it around a little with my spatula. See, I have a metal spatula here. If I were using a non-stick, I definitely would have to go with wood. Okay, we're going in, guys. About a tablespoon size is about enough. So just make sure it's all in the spoon, nice and trimmed, throwing pork around. I'm gonna drop her in. The pan, seeing it didn't go right away. So I know the pan could get a little hotter. We're gonna see how that one's cooking up before I drop. I can see the butter getting a little bubbled, and I can feel the heat of the pan. I just think it should be nice and hot. So you do want to let that pan heat up. I smell that butter, it smells so good. You want to let the pan heat up a little bit before going for it. Here we go. You don't want to overcrowd the pan, so you will be doing rounds of these. My husband, when we get busy, I think for camping we had 6 pounds of meat because there were a lot of families camping with us all weekend. He had 2 pans going on constant to just, get it done quicker. If you're in a rush, you could do that as well. I can hear them starting to sizzle now. Okay, my pan's getting hot enough over there. Talking about real time, huh? We just sit around and wait for a pan to get hot together. Here we go. Now, let's talk about how you could eat these. Traditionally in Denmark, this could be a main of your dish. This could be like the highlight of the plate. This would be the main protein. You might serve it up with some boiled potatoes. In America, because I like and enjoy, I roast my potatoes in the oven while I'm busy here cooking this. They're good warm or cold. And very commonly, if you're familiar, Denmark likes open-faced sandwiches called smørrebrød. I might say that not right. You put it on brown bread. They call it rugbrød. And you put a little smear of either lard or butter, and you put your meatballs on there. You might top it with something either like pickled beets, maybe a red cabbage, or even like a cucumber salad, maybe just some onion, some fresh onion. But it's really delicious, even as like a finger food for a party, even if it doesn't stay hot. They're great room temp or cold. I really think these are easy peasy, super kid friendly. My kids love these. And especially if you're going to use the name, instead of just calling it a meatball, call it a frikadeller. It's a fun name too for the kids. I can hear these puppies cooking. You want to cook 3 minutes on one side, flip it over, 3 minutes on the other. Should leave you with a pretty nice, well-cooked meatball. I can tell this is going to take some time, right? That's 2 pounds of meat. And maybe I put out, maybe at best a half pound right there, maybe a quarter pound even. So a couple minutes here. I cannot wait for you to experience these. And when you do, please write to me. I love to hear how you enjoy the recipes, whether that's a response to my email, if you're on my email list, or even finding the video, commenting in the comment field below how much you and your family enjoyed this. I'm so blessed that my husband brought this into our family, because we were only experiencing it when we traveled to Denmark. And now that he's gotten his hands dirty and talked to his mom enough times to get the recipe the way she makes it, we've got this now in our home, and I'm happy to bring it to yours. Okay, I can hear her cooking up. I'm just going to check that first one I laid down, see how nice and cooked it's getting. You'll notice, that the color of these meatballs, because it's veal and pork, is very pale in color. Almost reminds you of turkey burger. Promise you, so much more flavorful than a turkey burger. And I just think that they're so easy. Easy peasy. Dinner's almost done, right? If we had some potatoes roasted in the oven, a little fresh cucumber salad on the side. Just gonna flip some of these over who've been in there longer. Yeah, getting nice and brown from that butter. The butter makes it a really beautiful brown color. And it smells so good in here. I wish you could be right here with me and smell this. It's incredible. Almost got all my little guys flipped. Now, if you overcrowd the pan, they'll be boiling rather than frying. So you do want to make sure they're not touching each other, so they're getting cooked very nicely around all edges. Couple more minutes, guys. We're going to taste these together. Now, if you're not familiar with what brown bread is, you can actually get it in an American market. I've seen it called fitness bread or German rye. They're usually longer, like rectangular, dense, very dark brown, thin bread. That would be what would be traditional if you are going to do a smoked roll with this, an open-faced sandwich. And you could even, if you like mustard with your meatball, you could even smear a thin thing of mustard. Traditional is butter or lard. And then you put that meatball on and top it with whatever suits you. The red cabbage I mentioned is a Danish cooked down red cabbage that I've actually shared already in my KJ newsletters. with my Danish roasted pork. So it's in that email. If you do look it up, red cabbage, you'll find that recipe you could use to top these meatballs too. Looking good. I think it's another minute or so. Yeah, getting brown and gorgeous. Cooked through. So I would love to hear from you in the comment field. Do you make meatballs at home? If so, would you consider those American or Italian? Or do you pull it out of anywhere and create your own meatball with either chicken or turkey? I would love to hear. And how do you meatball? Do you throw it on top of pasta? Do you eat it knife and fork, almost like a mini meatloaf? Or are you topping it on a sandwich, a meatball sandwich? I would love for you to share your recommendations of what you do in your home with everyone as well. I think we're almost ready here. Looking so good. Oh, it's gonna be so hot. So here I come to taste it with you, but it might burn me. Let me get a little fork. I don't have a little fork. Hang tight, guys. We're gonna taste these together. This bad boy. You can even use the fork to help flip. And you'll know based on the firmness if they're done all the way through or not. Because if they're really soggy still, you know they got more cooking to do. Whoop. This guy's good. This guy needs longer, I can tell. Okay, going in for it. This is definitely hot, hot. Coming in, guys. I'm gonna get a little towel just in case I drop anything. Look at this frikadelle. So, like I said, it's a little bit more like a little mini burger than it is a round meatball. But this would be traditional if you go to Denmark and ask for frikadelle. I'm gonna give it a little whirl. It's so hot. They're so good. Okay. The trick is that spice blend. Now, if you're not into onion, you might back it off a little or even skip to onion flakes. I have used onion flakes to hide it from my kids. That allspice in there is amazing. I know what's for dinner tonight. That's what's happening in the Dreifold home. So thank you so much for tuning in today. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a blessed Wellness Wednesday. If you're not subscribed to the KJ Kitchen recipe newsletter yet, there will be a link below. Get on it. You get every week a new recipe in your inbox. Thank you again for joining us. See you next week. Share the love, share the post, tag a friend, and you have an amazing rest of your day.